welcome to this week's power message. If this is your first time here, hi, hello, and welcome. I am Jaya. I am clairaudient, and I do receive various styles of channeled messages. As these different messages come about, I will be relaying them to you guys. Now, this is a timeless message. That means that it's meant for whenever you find this. And it's for your next week, for this week ahead, okay? Since this is a collective message, all that I ask is that you kindly take what resonates and compassionately leave what doesn't for the person that needs to hear it the most, okay? So, what we do here is we'll go through one channeled message and then we go through 3 different decks. And one deck will be to keep us motivated. The next one will be more of a lesson. And then the third one is some words of inspiration for our week ahead. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into flow and see where we go. Yes. Okay. So I keep seeing kids that have these glasses on. You know those glasses that were like the 3D style from like back in the 90s? I'm seeing those types of glasses on little kids. And I'm just being drawn to the eyes. Like I could tell that they're kids that are wearing them, not adults. And they're in a movie theater. And they're watching, and I just keep being drawn to that. So for many of you guys, I feel like what this is, because I could even feel like the film of the glasses is almost feeling like I almost feel like the same film that is, you know, the negatives from like those old Kodak and stuff like that, those old photos that we used to have. And it's like those negatives that we used to get into the little bottle, the little container. I'm seeing the lens of the glasses like that. And now the glasses from the 90s, like that were that were 3D style, they used to have one red and one blue, I believe. And in my vision, I'm not seeing them like that. I'm seeing them still made the same, but they're more of, like I said, like the negatives. So I feel like many of you guys, you may be going through childhood experiences and sort of rewiring how you see those experiences, because I feel like it's like the child is looking through a negative lens, right? But it's still sort of like a make-believe. If we look back at anything from our past, it doesn't exist anymore. Technically, it doesn't exist anymore. What once existed doesn't exist forever. So I feel like many of you guys are going through a period where you are, especially this week, where you're sort of realizing where negative patterns may have come from, and you're sort of I was gonna say analysis and then analyzing. So some of you guys are like really analyzing how this has impacted you and how to see things with color, because I don't feel like the little boy doesn't know that he's looking through the negative lens. I feel like he's aware. It's like if, you know, you're being aware that this is a negative perception, but it doesn't necessarily mean that has to be the end of the situation. You can always look back at something and take something positive from it and leave the rest. And when we do that, we're able to allow experiences to have their moment and then pass. This doesn't make things any easier, but it does help bring some sort of resolution. So I feel like many of you guys are doing that. You're just sort of observing, and when you observe, there is a sensation of, wow, now I can change this. Wow, now I can do something about it. It's like that, but it's mainly for yourself. It's really beautiful. Our greatest personal power is the ability to take over our impulses and direct our minds to choices and commitments that will serve us. Yes. So many of you right now, you may be going through a period where you are trying to make a commitment, I feel, to regaining a sense of who you are. I'm hearing a foundation of who you are. So you are building a foundation of, I'm hearing principality, and it's like this new wave and integrity. It's like this new way of seeing things, and you're making the past experiences sort of, you're allowing them to mold a new commitment to yourself. It's like that. It's so enlightening, I want to say. It's very enlightening. So in this week, you guys are very much harnessing that self-will, that I even want to hear like self-discretion. So it's like when you look back at stuff that has happened in your past, and anything that was like, you would deem it now as inappropriate, or you would deem it now as not okay. You're seeing this through a lens of, oh, I was sort of conditioned. I was preconditioned this way. And it's like that. So you're really making sense. I want to say you're making sense. I'm hearing you're making sense of nonsense. But this makes sense. This makes so much sense, because this means that many of you guys are doing a lot of deep diving into who you are, how the past has molded you into the version that you see today, and how some of you guys are just looking at that and like going, wow, wow. So that's how that happened. And others of you are looking at it and going, wow, that's how it happened. Let me rewire it. But I don't feel like anybody's looking back in a sense of helplessness. I feel like everyone's looking back in a sense of understanding. And right here we have loneliness. I know that I am never alone. Yes. So many of you may have felt real restricted, I'm hearing. You may have felt like you couldn't really be yourself. I'm hearing confined in my body. So you may have felt like you couldn't, maybe you didn't have a personal say, because confined in my body really speaks volumes to me right now, because it feels like if some of you may have felt like who you are was completely disregarded, and the sense of nurturance, the nurturance of who you are. You're building that now. Some of you. Others of you, you felt very much restricted over power. Some of you may have had both, where it's like this restricting your power. I couldn't say this. I couldn't do that. So-and-so made decisions for me. Something like that, because I feel like the choices were not your choices, and it was supposed to be your choices. Like that. It's like So many of you are really taking a deep dive into understanding more about yourself. And this loneliness is speaking to me like this time in your life now where you're not feeling lonely, but you're taking some time to yourself to understand the situation. You're taking the time to yourself to sort of, I'm even hearing like pull over and see like what's going on. It's like that. And I feel like I'm like on the highway and I'm getting pulled over. It feels like that. And make sure you're not driving too fast. So that may be a warning for some of you. But I feel like this is because, of course, we're talking about even the impulses. Yeah, make sure you're not driving too fast, or don't drink and drive. You should never drink and drive. But yes, I'm feeling like those types of elements. I don't know why I'm being drawn to drunk driving. And I feel like these are like headlights or something. I feel like these are headlights. It's going to speak to somebody here, not everybody. But there may be a situation that happened when you were a kid that involved some sort of accident. That's for somebody out there, not for everybody. Take it as it resonates. Others of you, you guys are going through this time where it's understanding how you can, I want to say point of power. You're realizing that you have, at this point in time, you have your own power and you're using it. And you're using it to serve you well. You're using it to become more of yourself, to feel a sense of whole, to feel a sense of security. And when I say whole, it's WHOLE. So you feel whole, you feel complete. It's like that. It's so beautiful because there was just a need to nurture that inner part of yourself, that inner child. But it was, for many of you, it was very disregarded. It was like there was something about it that was so disregarded that it's like you're uncovering parts of yourself and you're really nurturing them now as an adult or even as a teenager. It is safe to look within. This is you really nurturing your own foundation within yourself. Allowing the past to be the past, acknowledging the past. Even like when she closes her eyes, I feel like she's remembering. I feel like it's a sense of like, oh, I remember. It's like that. But when she's remembering, she's looking at it without judgment. It's more of looking at it with a sense of understanding. Understanding. As I move through the layers of other people's opinions and beliefs, I see within myself a magnificent being, wise and beautiful. I love what I see in me. There's a lot of appreciation for that light that was like being confined, that was being held back, that was like, you can't shine your light, you can't do this, you can't do that. There was like, it was like when you try to speak out, there was a pull back. That's the way this feels right here. It really feels like that, very heavy. It almost feels like your light was heavy because you had this inner light that wanted to shine and it was like you had to confine it or something. Many of you are now really, I'm hearing you're stepping into your purpose. And this week, as you step into your purpose, there's something that may be shedding. It's like you shed certain beliefs about different perspectives, because everybody's going to be different. But you're shedding those old beliefs. And instead of going, I was disregarded, because like, let's say you were disregarded, right? I'm just going to go with that. Everyone's going to have a different circumstance. But let's say it was like you felt like you were always disregarded. And in this case, I really do feel like this was like a whole bunch of disregard. And like, let's say like you felt disregarded. So when you felt disregarded as a child, when you're trying to speak and you're stopped, there's almost like this, like, oh, but it's like you couldn't speak, and it's like it went down to the gut, And with that, there was a whole sense of, I can't, I don't want to say it because it just hurts so bad for some of you. And I'm sorry if this triggers you, but I see this week, you're realizing a point. This is for someone out there. You're realizing a point in time when you were a child that you felt like you were not a human. You were not a person. Like a person to be counted. Like if somebody said, take a head count and tell me how many people are in the room. There was a sense of not, because it hurts. It hurts when I say that. Oh, it hurts so much. It hurts. I'm so sorry because I feel that. And you're nurturing that part this week. Be open, open your heart, You're beautiful, you're precious. You have something inside that has been wanting to shine. And it's been wanting to shine since you were a child. And you're going to shine it. You're already shining it. But allow yourself to experience new perspectives. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, you guys. But allow yourself to experience new perspectives. For everyone, we are talking about personal power. We're talking about not feeling isolated anymore. But it's through a period of isolation that you don't feel isolated anymore. Because this woman's in solitude. I think solitude, I firmly believe solitude is when we do that introspection. Loneliness is when we feel like we cannot look within and we're staying put. So I feel like many of you, what you're doing is you're doing an introspection. Through this process, I just want you to know you're going to be harnessing a lot more. I'm hearing capabilities, functionalities, and discipline. There's something about the discipline too. But it's not in a negative way, like, oh, I have to check myself because we always see like discipline is this like, oh, this, we have to have discipline. Discipline is a beautiful thing. When we can really use discipline with its finest qualities, we're able to create whatever we want to create in this world and get along. So I feel like this week, a lot of you guys are really taking charge of your mind. You're really taking charge of your heart. You're really doing that deep work within yourself. And I'm hearing you're changing limited perspectives. It's no longer a limitation, but something that expands how you feel inside. Because you felt something so deeply painful, you can feel something deeply grateful inside. And you feel deep because you've been to those depths inside. So remember that's actually an asset. That's a positive thing, is that now you know how to feel deep. You know how to look within and look real deep. And you know how to transmute that energy into this positive, radiant version of yourself. And with that type of in-depth introspection, you become a very unique person in how you are able to really speak to people who have a hard time coming out with a certain situation in their life, or have a hard time looking in within a situation in their life, because you've done this work. And I don't feel like this is a first dive in here. I feel like this is multiple dives you've taken in there, and you go a little bit deeper every time. And I feel like this time you're really seeing where the negativity had derived from, where you started to see the world in a negative light. It's like almost taking like the moment. Like, I remember the moment that I started seeing my world this way. And then you're starting to rewire that. Some of you may be actually going through a process of rewiring, like, reprogramming the, different situations going on in your life. It's really beautiful. It's very precious. And you're very precious. And you deserve to feel the love that you have inside. And that deserves to be radiated unapologetically into this world to create more positivity and beautiful experiences for you. So thank you guys for joining me here today. If you haven't, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, comment below, let me know how this resonates with you, or you can just share it however you feel you need to. And thank you for being a part of my world today. It was a pleasure to be a part of your world today as well. And have a fantastic rest of your week.